Welcome to Target. I'm Paula Durant, your host. The United Church of Christ on New Brunswick Avenue brings me to this place, and I'm here today with Tom Tyrell, who is the brand new, as we're taping, very brand new, as you're seeing it, he's been here a while, Director of Public Safety, not the police chief, Director of Public Safety in our township, East Brunswick, New Jersey. Welcome, Tom, both to Target and to East Brunswick.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here and joining the official family in East Brunswick, and particularly the Department of Public Safety.
Tell us something about yourself. Where do you come from? I know you have some state police experience.
Well, I started in the state police in 1950.
Let me think about this minute. 32 years ago?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Seems like ancient times, really. But that's the fact. And I served until my retirement in June of 1981. Went through the ranks, spent about 12 years as a street detective after doing patrol duty. Became involved in planning, research, and development. Became the planning officer. Following that, the commandant of the State Police Academy at Seagard. Following that, the inspection and internal affairs officer of the state police for about 3 years.
Which means you investigate complaints against the...
Yes, we established the current method of handling citizen complaints for whatever the reason against state police officers, Colonel Pagano and I, and it has been widely copied. Both he and I felt very strongly about the subject.
Well, what
critical
is the
method? Critical is that everything will be investigated fully impartially, and the person lodging the complaint will be advised of the results of the investigation personally.
So you investigate impartially, thoroughly, and personally report?
Yes, and that is in the event the action isn't publicized. If it requires a criminal arrest, we make the arrest, and if it requires internal disciplinary action, very often the complainant would be a witness in that case. Mm-hmm. I can't stress the importance of that enough, because really it's the best protection available for both the public and the police officer. A thorough, unbiased investigation, letting the chips fall where they may, protects the police officer, because we don't want people with that responsibility unwarrantedly or criticized or bearing the brunt of a lack of information-based criticism. So we want to clear the air, and in those cases where it's necessary, we made it public through the press or through interviews with the press.
You made it public that an officer was reprimanded, or? Not
for minor disciplinary action. Certainly the personnel record of an individual, whether he be a police officer or any other employee, where you have rather large personnel operations, is a matter of privacy, but when on a case-by-case basis, when it was of particular public interest, we would make the necessary announcements. And we feel that a candid, forthright posture is in the best interest of all concerned.
Okay. Now, have we reached your career to East Brunswick, or did you move somewhere after?
Then I became a member of the staff of the state police in charge of special and technical services that involved laboratories, photography, and crime scene investigations, all homicides in the state police, and the many, many homicides the state police worked crime scene on in cooperation with the local authority having jurisdiction, having that responsibility. Then I retired and spent 14 months with the Division of Motor Vehicles as an internal management consultant charged with the responsibility of determining if there was misconduct and taking the necessary action, as well as recommending changes in the systems that were indicated by the investigation results. Point that is often overlooked in internal investigations. Not only does it protect the public, does it protect the police officer, but it can show insufficiencies in the system or needs for improvement. And then, of course, the requirement is to do something about it.
That's right. So then you came here from the Division of Motor Vehicles?
Yes. Yes, I resigned effective September 1 this year.
Okay, so well, welcome. Now
Thank
we've
you.
got you in East Brunswick. What are you going to do now that you're here?
Well, I'm really delighted with the staff officers and the young officers. I met with the East Brunswick police officers as well as the official family. There's no question the East Brunswick Police Department enjoys an outstanding reputation in police circles. And I'm delighted to be working with them. There is also no question that there has been some public criticism, and there has been a recent tragedy. We must take steps to reduce to the absolute minimum the chance of that tragedy, shooting of a young man by a police officer judged to be accidental, from happening again. Therefore, it's fair to say we will have a new firearms program coming on board very rapidly based on training. Now, this is not to say that I am critical of the prior program, but I'm very sensitive to the use of force and firearms and the responsibility that goes with it, and we're just going to have more training to fortify.
What kind of training is that? What do you mean? I mean,
In all respects. I haven't mapped out the program. There will be more practice. There will be more situations. There will be more conditioning in every respect for firearms, because we must go forward. And I think the track record of the East Brunswick Police with regard to training has been outstanding. They're very receptive to it. They're very eager, and some of the initial steps have been taken to increase this training.
one of the issues that's...
Right now. We'll be moving forward. It's premature to discuss it. Another thing that must not be overlooked is we're talking about the safety and the survival of the police officer on the street, because it's a dangerous world out there in certain situations, and we must understand that. We ask a lot of cops, and they're delighted to try and deliver. Accidents do happen. A tragedy has occurred. And in other areas, I'm sure a few mistakes have been made. But by and large, it's a demanding job requiring split-second decisions and with the awesome responsibility of life and death in many cases.
Yes.
We want to see that everyone involved in East Brunswick gets the benefit of the highest kind of professional police service.
One of the things that became clear to me was an issue is the use of deadly force by the police department. Certainly was the cause of the recent tragedy. With the gun was drawn in an effort to gain control of a situation. I'm wondering if a police department ever sets a clear policy, or if that's a moment-by-moment decision an officer makes, and always subject to the whims of the situation.
There are some police agencies that do have policies. Of course, the overriding standard is the criminal law, Chapter 2C, which pretty clearly enunciates and certainly defines the use of deadly force with far more clarity than in the previous criminal code. So that is the basis, the law, in fact. And then we have to look at the application of deadly force. 2C clearly shows that drawing the weapon is not the application of deadly force. Firing the weapon is.
To explain to me, because I'm not versed in firearms, but my husband says to me that gun training of people who go to the range to shoot or learn to use a weapon to hunt, etc., says that you never point a weapon at someone unless you're ready for that gun to go off. That is, the safety training they receive as non-police is the direct opposite of a police officer who is told to draw the gun as a method without intending to shoot it, as a method to gain control of a situation that's out of control.
Well, you really can't equate firearms training for hunting or military purposes with police service. Not at all. Therefore, those standards don't apply to police service. The question is what kind of force is perceived by the officer as being possibly directed against him at that time. Certainly, I don't think any, by the way, the object is not to fire the gun.
That's right.
It is to gain control of the situation without having to fire. In many cases, that's a judgment call. In many cases, that's a judgment call.
I would expect almost always it is, because if there's a heated situation and someone is charged with calming it down, it would be a guess whether drawing a weapon would calm it or inflame it. I mean, that is always a judgment call.
Absolutely. And sometimes an extremely difficult judgment call.
Okay.
And I'm talking about this in the abstract, and I want it clearly understood that I'm not relating it to the recent shooting.
And yeah, I think we could say that we're really talking generally about issues that have come to the community of East Brunswick because of the recent shooting, but they're general, not specific. We attended a council meeting last evening,
Yes, we
Eve
did.
and I, which there were many concerned citizens speaking of complaints against the police department, both in terms of attitude toward individuals in need of help or assistance, and what was the word I think used was harassment. I'm wondering, the question then asked by the concerned woman was, where do we go if we're having this problem? Now, where do they go? Do they come to your office?
Right now, yes, and of course, Mayor Fox will accept those complaints and relay them to me. As far as that complaint, it's been accepted and it has been acted on. So that's where anyone can come if they have a problem. We'll set up a procedure and make sure that everybody knows about it as rapidly as we can, because this, again, is in the best interest of the public and the police, as well as the functioning of government here. The complaint was of harassment, and it dealt with a specific individual who, it's very clear, has been charged twice with assaulting East Brunswick police officers, the last one of which required 5 stitches in the officer's scalp.
None of which was said at the council meeting last night.
None of which was said in the council meeting. Be that as it may, we will investigate that very thoroughly, and the chips will fall where they may.
Okay, but at this point, it's either the mayor's office or your office.
Right.
For those kinds of complaints.
Yes, and as I say, we'll set up very quickly a mechanism and make it widely understood.
Okay.
Because you also have to understand there are thousands and thousands of police contacts in every respect throughout the year, whether it's responding to a complaint from an individual, a house burglary, a neighborhood dispute, a domestic dispute, whatever. The police do respond, and very often we receive letters of praise, or we hear that an outstanding job was done. As a matter of fact, one of the speakers last night mentioned the outstanding police performance and apprehension of bank robbery not long ago. Therefore, I want to emphasize that I think we have a fine police department, and I'm certainly aware that no department is perfect and problems do exist, but we're going to meet them head on and work them out together, because the thing that is absolutely essential is to have community involvement, public involvement in the police. It's a cooperative venture. The police are hired by the citizenry to protect them and render emergency service. Therefore, the client and the deliverer of the service have to have an understanding, a close involvement, and do well together. That's what we're looking for.
Now that raises to my mind a question about a civilian review board, which is a mechanism whereby I see, at least, citizens and police can sit in dialogue and gain an understanding of one another, and possibly, I think, diffuse much of the frustration. Would you care to make your comment about the civilian? I heard last night at the
Yes,
council.
I haven't made any secret of my views on a citizen review board. First of all, citizen review boards, in my opinion, are the last resort. That's how they have been used previously in, pardon me, several major cities. I certainly don't think anybody in their wildest imagination would compare the situation here in East Brunswick with one of our metropolises during the 60s.
Chicago, where I lived in the 60s.
Well,
yeah.
Chicago has an entirely different program to which Superintendent Rockford agreed to a number of years ago. I discussed the subject with him personally when I was in that field. And there was an entirely different situation, doesn't begin to approach. By the way, he was very distressed about the entire situation that, pardon me, led to the necessity of a mechanism, which is not, by the way, a civilian review board in Chicago. So it has to be a crisis situation of enormous proportions to even consider a civilian review board. The other problem is, to my knowledge, they haven't worked. A gentleman offered a variation of the theme last night, a mix of people from various civilian callings and police professionals. That's been tried, and it certainly is a better approach. But just as all the other callings really have to be improved as a result of efforts from within the system, the best way to address these problems is through the police department, so that they can work together, because it's the men in the field who confront these situations and have to perform under pressure. And they have to be fully supportive of the program, as does the entire department, as well as the municipal government. And in that way, I'm convinced here in East Brunswick, we're going to remedy the situation, and within 12 months there'll be a marked difference in attitudes with respect to the police department and public involvement. And 18 months, I think, will be there. So I'm putting it on the line.
Okay.
The other thing, I'm convinced, because there are outstanding officers here, they have a very good selection process, pardon me, exhaustive background and character investigations that compare favorably, pre-service that is, with any police department around. And really, pre-service investigations are one of the best predictors of police performance, as shown by a RAND Corporation study of the New York City Police Department in the early 1970s.
Now, when you say pre-service background check, demythologize that. What does that
Okay,
mean?
that means a exhaustive investigation into the character and background of the applicant for appointment to the police department. And every one of the officers here in East Brunswick has gone through that investigation and not only met that criteria but the other selection criteria. Therefore, we have a fine body of people to work with, and I'm certainly very pleased by their outstanding performance. I'm distressed, to put it mildly, about the tragedy we've had. We're going to find out if the complaints that were voiced last night are able to stand the hold card light of facts, because that's our business, facts. And we want everybody to perceive the police department as the professionals they are.
About the same time that the tragedy occurred in East Brunswick, there was a shooting in the air a gun was fired into the air by an officer in Franklin, which is a municipality some miles from here. And so those two events were followed in the newspaper somewhat along the lines. And finally, after the investigation was finished, and the Franklin police chief, and this was reported at last night's council meeting also, suspended the man for 5 days because he said he expected police to be exemplary under stress, and that this man's behavior was not exemplary under stress, and therefore the suspension. I've heard many East Brunswick citizens say that is the sense they have. Their hope for the police department is that they will be not perfect, because none of us, no matter what uniform we put on, are perfect, but they will be models for the rest of us in calming a situation and handling stress well. I wonder if you'd comment.
Right. Well, first of all, that's what we hope. They'll be models of the kind of professional police service a growing, dynamic municipality like East Brunswick needs and deserves. And by the way, that's what most of the officers want too. No question about it. Now, as I recall, the comment last night zeroed in on a minor offense for which the warning shot was fired, if it was a warning shot. Is that correct? I don't know.
It was at a man who is notoriously in trouble, so that there was some more than minor involved in the officer seeking to apprehend this man.
I see.
It was not, I think maybe the offense was minor, but the officer knew who the man was, and they were looking for him.
Well, the offense is critical. The offense is critical, and a warning shot is expressly permitted under 2C.
Okay, so the shot was fired within the policy of or within the law.
However, the policy of the department had a tougher requirement, and the chief of police, exercising his judgment, took certain action.
Right, that's right.
And I want to assure you and everybody else that I have very demanding standards on recognition and accountability. I want to make sure that every police officer in East Brunswick is recognized for outstanding performance as well as consistently good performance. Where there's need for correction, we'll recognize that, because we're really talking about accountability, and we'll take those corrective action. I do not discuss unsatisfactory performance, because that's not tolerated. And we'll take whatever steps needed to see that that occurs. And I'm confident of the men and women in this police department that they are measuring up and will measure up even better in the future.
Okay. We have about 3 minutes left, believe it or not. Is there anything that I haven't covered that you would like to include?
Really, I stress these 3 things. I think we pretty well covered them. Professional performance by the police department, public involvement. That's the each and every contact of the police officer with the complainant, and even in enforcement contacts, traffic stops and the like. Professional, so that the individual with whom they have the contact, the citizen who's making the complaint, feels that they have been served as best they can under the situation, and that if a summons is issued on a traffic stop, that it's been done in a professional manner. There may be some question about whether they're guilty or innocent in the minds of the person receiving the summons, but that they have been treated by a real professional. Accountability and responsibility, recognition, training, and I think we have the ingredients here. I want to make it also very clear that I think my predecessor, Frank Pash, has really laid an outstanding foundation here. I think he did a splendid job.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got so interested, we sidetracked from your biography and introduction. You have a wife,
Yes.
a family.
Absolutely. We live in Willingboro. My wife picked out our home site, and it's a Levitt development from the stakes where the foundations were to go, using a compass, so we have a beautiful exposure. There are 10,000 houses there, but there aren't any behind ours, and it's on a creek with woods.
Oh, so you're not going to move?
We may well be moving in the future because our family is growing now. My son Tom is an ensign in the Navy on the USS Glover. My other son Henderson, who visited us today, he's a whitewater raft guide, an unlikely occupation, but that's what he does down in West Virginia.
Winter and summer?
No, winter, summer rather. He'll be going down for the fall season. They'll hopefully be opening the dam on the Gully River very shortly for the full week rather than on weekends. And he then goes to the West Coast on occasion. He did the Colorado River on an expedition last year, that sort of thing. My daughter's in her last year of high school, Darcy.
And so they will, Willingboro is an hour from here, so you'll
Yes.
be available and around.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be around.
So-
No question of that.
And you're welcoming citizens' comments and
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. By my remarks concerning the Citizen Review Board only have to do with the Citizen Review Board.
Okay.
We'll be doing as much as we possibly can to have more and more contact, especially our supervisory and superior officers with public groups. We're going to be available, and we're eager to talk to everybody.
okay, well, this is the beginning.
Good.
Welcome to East Brunswick.
Thank you.
Thank you for being my guest. This is Paula Durant. Thank you for watching Target. Good evening.